That sure is good. There ain't nothing finer than a shiner. Though most of y'all probably didn't even know it came in a can. This is probably the first time I've ever bought it in a can. But there's a good reason why, and we'll show you. Today we're going to be cooking a beer can chicken. Now, the first things we want to do is get our pit ready. And this is just going to be a down and dirty video on how to cook a beer can chicken. But first, let's get our pit ready. I already got the fire going. We got a good sized fire going on in there. And what I like to do, I always get my pit way hotter than I'm ever going to cook with it. But that makes it cleaning a lot easier. But there's also a couple things that I forgot to do. One, I got to take out my top rack because the chicken's not going to fit. And then two, I also need to put the water pan down in there. So let's do that real quick. Well, that was easy. Let's go ahead and fill it up with water and then work on our chicken. Now we're just going to let the temperature get back up in the pit, and that'll happen while we're... So here we have all the basic stuff you're going to need. This is a very simple way to cook a whole chicken. I mean, we got the whole chicken. We got all the stuff to cook the whole chicken with. And you need everything you see on this table. Now, let me back up a little bit here and say that I'm not going to go into detail with everything I use, because when I was learning how to cook, I took things from several different people in the way they made the dish, and I made it my own, how I like it. But so first we're going to get started. We're going to take our whole chicken, and don't be bashful, it's just a chicken. We're going to put it on our little spot here. It's hard to do one-handed. Anyway, so we got it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to drizzle this thing, cover it in a coat of oil, coat of olive oil to be exact. You can either do this with a brush or your hands or however you want to do it. So that's what we're going to do now. Oh, excuse me. Now our chicken's all oiled up. The next step is to put your favorite rub on it. I use a commercial rub, but with all my favorite commercial rubs to anything I cook, I usually add a lot of garlic, cumin, and a little bit of chili powder. So we're going to do that now. Oh, you're back. So we got our chicken all rubbed up, rubbed down. That's about what you want it to look like. It's going to be good and messy, a good thick coat. Now the next step, which is a very, very important one, is your beer. You want to first drink a quarter of your beer. Yeah, it's about a quarter. Alright, I always mash a hole in the top like that, make a big hole. Put it in, I use these holders. You can buy these anywhere at Academy or Walmart, because my chickens always seem to fall over when it's just a beer can. But I make that hole big because I put quite a bit of my seasonings I use in the beer. Whether that does anything or not, I don't know. I like to think it does. But if you ain't figured out yet, I'm not a professional cook. I just make pretty good food in my backyard. So we're gonna go with it. Now the next thing to do is to put that chicken over that beer. You can't be bashful. You can't be shy about it. It's just that beer can has to go up inside that chicken. So it'll stand up. And there you have it. That's about what your chicken should look like. It should stand up by itself. Like that, and it's almost ready to go on the pit. So I've seen some people, they like to Hang on. Alright, you see how the wings are now? I can't do it with just one hand, but bear with me and I'll show you. Well, you want the wings to look like this. There, you want the chicken to, you want to put the wings behind the head like it's doing some kind of sexy stripper dance, getting you to come over and spend its dollar. But now we're ready to put the chicken on the pit. So we want the pit around 300 to 350. We're a little low on temperature. I'll go over some basics just in case you haven't barbecued before or cooked on a pit like this. Is referred to as a offset stick burner. So you got your firebox. We got our fire going in here, which is now a big bed of hot coals, which is fine. We wanted about 350, 325, 350, and so the way we increase our temperature is we open up the damper here and it'll get more air in. More air in will make your fire a little bit bigger. And we'll close this off just a little bit, about right there, and it'll hold the heat in. If you open this up, it's gonna let more heat out, which will cool your pit off. But we're gonna run it about right here. And we're gonna open it up and put our chicken right in the middle. There you have it, easier than the girls in Kenville. So all we do now, you're gonna close the lid and you're gonna let it sit there at a constant temperature of about 300, 350 degrees. And we're gonna wait about an hour and a half. It's gonna take between an hour and a half to 2 hours. Now, an important thing to do here, this is very important. You don't want to keep opening the lid on your barbecue pit or your smoker, whatever you want to call it. You don't want to keep opening that. It's going to cause an indifference in your temperatures. Just let it sit. So find yourself something to do for at least an hour and a half here, which I drink beer. It's good if you drink beer, you have a mixed drink of bourbon. You want to not mess with that pit. You just want to keep the temperature constant. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. We're going to go over here and grab a fresh piece of wood from our pile, and we're going to put it in our fire. I have a big hunk of mesquite here, and the reason I'm doing this, put it on top of these hot coals, and it's going to roll quite a bit of smoke over that chicken and through that pit before it catches fire. So you want to do that, and you want to leave your pit alone. It's very important. You just leave your pit alone, let it sit there. If you don't drink, find one of your hobby things to do. Don't mess with the pit. Leave it alone. You know, while chilling out, waiting, you can clean up your workspace like I did. See, everything's all clean. You can come over to your pit. It's still a little bit lower than I like it to be, so you can open up your firebox, poke at the fire with a stick. Don't worry, you won't hurt it. It'll be all right. Even put another piece on there. Close that back up. Take apart your 1911. Put your 1911 back together. Put your 1911 back in the safe so you don't forget it and leave it out overnight. Alright, so it's been about a half hour. We can open our pit now and just show you what it looks like. That's what our chicken looks like. Looking real good. We can turn it if you want to turn it. It's up to you. Cook it however you want. But anyways, if you're going to make a side dish, this is a good time to make your side dish. And I'm going to make cornbread. So first thing we're making cornbread, if you don't know, you want to put your pan that you're going to cook the cornbread in, you want to get it good and hot, especially if it's cast iron like that. If not, your cornbread is going to stick to the bottom. So we got our bowl out ready for our cornbread. I'm going to show you how I make my personal homemade cornbread. It's really easy. First, you take your package of cornbread. It's HEB brand sweet and spicy cornbread. Dump it in the bowl. Blah, there you go. Now you follow directions and you take a cup and a quarter of water. That's about 1.25 cups of water. You pour it in there. Now we mix it up. Alright, that's about what it should look like when you're done mixing it up. And our pan should be plenty hot. We can take it out of the pit, out of the smoker. So, you know it's hot, so for safety reasons, pull your sleeve down over your hand and grab it like that. And put it on a good heat resistant table. Close your pit so you don't lose any of your heat. Now we're going to take our cornbread mix and pour it out in the pan. So now we have it all in our pan. We'll open our pit back up. And using the same safety techniques as before, put the hot pan back in the barbecue pit. Now, if you've never had cornbread or biscuits or anything like that cooked on a barbecue pit, on a smoker, you're missing out. I really suggest try it. Other than it being outside and through smoke, you basically do it the same way. If you're cooking at a lower temperature, of course, it's going to take a little bit longer to be done. That's all you got to think about there. Alright guys, I must apologize, I didn't plan this all the way through. It got dark on me. But we're going to check the chicken now and see if it's ready. Let's see, let's cut in a spot here. Oh, that's pretty. It looks about done to me. Let's turn it around. Oh, look at that. This is amazing. Alright, hang on. Man, that's good looking. The cornbread's done. All right at the right time. Look at this. It just peels right off. That is a done beer can chicken. And I don't know if you can see this right now, but this is James with a really awesome outdoor show, and I thank y'all for watching. My very first ever cooking video that was very impromptu and with a cell phone. This has been beer can chicken. Thanks guys. Have a good night.